Hey guys. Okay, I apparently didn't learn my lesson and I'm filming outside again, but I feel like it's the only place. Sir, there's a bird that is again really wanting us to know something, or wanting someone to know something. And it's not us, because I don't speak bird. It really seems to only do it when I'm actively talking. Okay. Well, I'm filming in the exact same spot as where I filmed my last video, but I'm just sitting on the opposite side because it's very sunny over there. It's very bright. And I tried to sit over there and then got too hot and I couldn't see anything. And so we're filming with this lovely wall as the background, but it's like 20 degrees today, and so I feel like I can't be sitting inside filming. We are contending with the birds again today, but I didn't want to let anything stand in the way of my experiment to become a lover girl before Valentine's Day. So if you don't know me at all, I am a certified romance hater. I generally don't get along with contemporary romance, generally don't get along with romantasy, and usually the part of like fantasy or adventure books that bores me the most is the romance. But I'm determined to find some romantic books that I enjoy in this month of love. So I have a whole bunch of books. I'm hoping to read 3 or maybe 4 books, depending on how long they are, in this vlog, and my goal is to have at least one 4-star book that has romance as a main focus. I do want to set myself up for success here by choosing genres or books that have romantic elements or focus on romance, but that's not the entire book, and just have like a wide range of the type of romances that I'm reading to, first of all, not get burnt out on one type of romance, but also to give myself a high chance of success, because I know I don't love the traditional format of romances, so I'm hoping that one that's romance and something will be more of a hit with me. So first, I wanted to just bring you through my choices of romance books for this vlog. Maybe I'll pick up a different one if I come across it, but these are the ones that I've already gathered or they're already on my radar. So I have Perfume and Pain by Anna Doran, and I borrowed that from my library and it's on my Kindle. So this is a contemporary fiction romance story, but with nods to 1950s lesbian culture. It specifically focuses on 1950s lesbian pulp fiction because that is what the main character is researching. And it's about this woman, Astrid, who moves herself to Los Angeles, and she has a huge collection of perfume, and they move into this tiny room, and then it's just her like kind of figuring out her life and her escapades in Los Angeles. So that's Perfume and Pain by Anna Doran. The next book is one that I'm actually very excited for and I have high hopes for. It's Elegy for the Undead by Matthew Vesely. So first of all, this is a novella, which is great. Anything short is helpful here. And I have it on my Kindle from my library. This kind of reminds me of pitches for Our Wives Under the Sea because it's a queer kind of horror paranormal love story where one of them is turning into something else that isn't entirely human, and that process of letting go. And then also Shark Heart, which I also have, but I'm reading it for a different vlog, where again, one of the characters is turning into something else, and Jesus. So it's a story about love and loss and letting go. And basically this is about a couple, and one of the husbands has contracted a virus that's turning him into a zombie. This is high on my priority list. I have it on my Kindle, and it could be a nice short little palate cleanser between more romance heavy books, because it does feel more like a emotional lit-fic grief horror zombie story than a traditional romance. The only book that I have physically on this list is one that I've talked about many times. It's on my 10 to read before the end of 2026, and it's actually one that was just featured as the book of the month in the literary magazine I edit, and Lydia Hillia, who is the author of this book, collaborated with us on a post, and she followed us, and she's just very sweet, and so now I'm even more excited to read it, and that is Slanting Towards the Sea by Lydia Hillia. This starts in the early 2000s in Croatia, and it's the story of these 2 people who fall in love as Croatia is becoming independent, and then how their lives interact in the following 20 years. They go their separate ways and then come together again decades later, and it seems like a story about how their love and relationship grows and changes between romantic and platonic, and exciting and passionate and comfortable and familiar. And I love these types of books, and the cover is also stunning. Just something pulls me towards this cover so much. And that was Slanting Towards the Sea by Lydia Hillia. Another book that I really want to be able to read during this is Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton. This is obviously not a traditional love story. It's nonfiction, it's a memoir, but I think it'll be a good companion piece to read alongside the fictional pieces that I want to read. And I also think it will help me, again, not become too burnt out by reading romance stories. This feels more like self-love. Obviously, she talks about romantic love as well. A few years ago, everyone and their mother was reading this book, and I missed the train on it, but I feel like now would be a really good time to read it. And again, I feel like it's just a good thing to read in the lead up to Valentine's Day. So that's Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton, and I also have that on my Kindle. So the next one is another fun one. It is A Dreadful Splendor by B.R. Myers. I don't remember how I heard about this or who I heard about this from, but it's on my Goodreads TBR, and it looks like a fun, goofy, spooky time. It appears to be a gothic mystery romance, which I just think would be fun and goofy and not too heavy, and it seems like it wouldn't just be romance. It is fun gothic atmosphere, there's a mystery to be solved, and then within that there's a romance. So I hope that all those pieces together can bring me a win. It says, be careful what you conjure. A fake spiritualist is summoned to hold a seance for a bride who died on the eve before her wedding, but as nefarious secrets are revealed, the line between hoax and haunting blurs. And that just sounds fun to me. I have it on audio and my Kindle through Libby, so I feel like it could be a good one if I'm driving anywhere, which I will be. I'll be going back and forth from San Francisco quite a lot in the next few days, or if I'm just like bopping around and want to be listening to something. So that is A Dreadful Splendor by B.R. Myers. I know this is a lot, but I'm just rapid fire going through my options, and then I'll make like a top 4 or 5 that I want to read. So the next I have is one that I don't have high hopes for, but it's another one that I feel like I'm going to fall into the hype for. Everyone is obsessed with it, and that's Heartless Hunter, or The Crimson Moth, depending on where you're from, by Kristen Ciccarelli. I know nothing about this, except that it's a witch/witch hunter, fake dating, fantasy romance, romantasy, and everyone has been obsessed with it. So I have it, again, on my Kindle and on audio as kind of like an easy, fun, quick read. We'll see my thoughts on that. There is one more contemporary romance that I have on this list, and it is Beach Read by Emily Henry. Again, I'm one of the last people in the world to even consider picking this up, but I read Book Lovers by Emily Henry probably 4 or 5 years ago at this point, and thought it was like fine. I think I gave it a 3.5 star, maybe a 3 star. It just didn't really do it for me, but again, Emily Henry is a beloved romance author, and I've had it on my Kindle, and I've just thought, if there's a time for me to pick up Beach Read, it's in the lead up to Valentine's Day. And I think this is about 2 authors who are rivals, but then they switch genres to help each other get out of writer's block. And then Emily Henry's books always deal with some heavy stuff, so I'm not 100% sure what it would be, but it's definitely will be there. And the last thing I have is one that I've already started. I started listening to it in the shower earlier today, and that's Empire of Shadow by Jacquelyn Benson. This is pitched as kind of like Indiana Jones meets Veronica Speedwell. I really enjoy the Veronica Speedwell books. They're fun for me. I'm not a die-hard fan of the romance or anything, but it's one that I do enjoy. And Books and Lala has really raved about this book. It seems just like a fun action-adventure, historical, fiction, fantasy romp. So that is Empire of Shadows by Jacquelyn Benson. I'd say the top 4 that I'm, like my tentative top 4 TBR for this video are Empire of Shadows, Elegy for the Undead, Everything I Know About Love, and Slanting Towards the Sea. I feel like that's a good mix of romantasy, action, nonfiction, horror, and more contemporary literature, but I could really pick up any of these books in the coming 2 weeks. So I'm not 100% sure, but I am hoping to read a good amount of romance and not hate it all, which is a low bar, but I really don't like romance that much. Why am I doing this, you may ask? It's a great question. For science.
Hi, it is very late, and I have to get up at 5 a.m. because I'm driving my parents to the airport, so I should probably be asleep. But instead, I've been listening to Empire of Shadows, or Emperor of Shadows? Empire of Shadows, I think. And I'm about 10% in. I'm liking it so far. I appreciate that it gets kind of straight into the action, and the discovery that sets off the plot happens almost right away. And I like the main character so far. I think for the rest of the night, until I fall asleep, which hopefully will be very soon, I'm going to read Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton on my Kindle. I also have Empire of Shadows on here. So, yeah, maybe I'll actually continue reading Empire of Shadows. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do that. Good night.
Terribly dangerous. Looked to me like somebody put a gag in her mouth. He said, tied up her hands. Did it. Jacobs counted flatly.
Honey, put your phone down. Hi, I am outside yet again trying to take in as much sunlight as possible, but I wanted to update you on my reading. I did start Everything I Know About Love, and I read the first probably like 10 pages, and then I went back to reading Empire of Shadows, and then I've been listening to Empire of Shadows today while I ran some errands and was doing some paint by numbers. So I'm 25% through now, and dare I say, I'm enjoying the romance. It's very much just a hint of it so far, which I prefer. If there's going to be romance in a fantasy or something like that, I prefer for it to be a slow burn and kind of a side tangent to the main action, and it definitely is right now. Oops, that's not super nice. I'm just holding you, so I'm trying to not make you too shaky. But yeah, it's been a chill day. Honestly, I got a job rejection, which was kind of a bummer. I've mentioned that I graduated recently, well, not so recently anymore, but I was in London working at a hostel, and I've been editing this magazine, but the magazine editing is volunteer-based, and so I've been looking for work in journalism or development work or editing or really anything that I'm interested in at all for like over a year now. And to be transparent, it's really hard to get employed right now, and I'm turning 28 this year, and I'm just kind of like feeling a little behind, which I'm sure a lot of people can relate to. But because of that, it's just been kind of like a down day for me. I just haven't had like the mental energy to do much besides run some errands and eat and paint by numbers, and I should probably do some yoga or something. But I've also been dealing with a back injury for the last 3 months, which makes yoga hard. So overall, having a little bit of a whiny day, which sometimes is necessary. But yeah, if you are also unemployed and having a hard time with it, I feel ya. And it's a crazy time right now. At least I have a fun little fantasy, I guess it's not really fantasy romance yet. I don't even know if it will be. It's historical fiction romance, but it's like action adventure. I don't know. It's fun. Should I watch The Mummy? I've never seen The Mummy, but I've been really wanting to, and I've seen a lot of pictures from the original one, and both of the main characters are so hot. So maybe I should watch The Mummy tonight. If I do, you'll be the first and only one to know.
Insects hopped along the surface of the water, and the sun beat down relentlessly overhead. As Ellie moved to the shade of the canopy.
No, you've been hurting. This spiral's a lonely road. Take my hand and listen. Maybe one day you'll cross paths, and you both got new purpose. And the life you used to live is left within that old apartment. And maybe nothing's said and done, and your chest is set on fire. But I promise you, there's nothing but a cold heart.
Hello. I just got back from the city. I've been in San Francisco since Thursday. Today is Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday. And the Super Bowl is in like the San Francisco area happening today. So I wanted to get out of there before crazy traffic. There's a bird out there that has something huge in its mouth. I should just turn this into a bird watching channel because now that I'm home, there are birds just all the time doing crazy shit. What was I saying? Yeah, I didn't have a ton of reading time. It was mostly when I was driving to and from the city and then like right before bed. But I did have a little bit of time to read. I finished Empire of Shadows, which I will tell you about. And then I got probably 20% into Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton. And because I finished Empire of Shadows, which was my audiobook while I was in San Francisco, on the drive home, I started listening to The Possession of Alba Díaz by Isabel Cañas. That is my book update, and now I'll actually tell you things about the books. So I finished Empire of Shadows. I was really enjoying the first 50%, and then towards the middle and then the end, I got a little bored. I felt like it started dragging a little bit, especially at like 65 to 70% forward, which was kind of a bummer because that was when it was supposed to be all super action-packed, but I just was less invested in the story for a few reasons. I thought the villain was a very one-dimensional villain. I just didn't feel like there was a lot of depth to the character. And then I had a lot of mixed feelings about the messaging of the book. I couldn't tell what the messaging was. So our main characters are Ellie and Adam. Ellie is this British woman. She's an archaeologist. All she wants to do is go into archaeology, but because of her gender, she's really held back and like really not allowed to do anything in the field of archaeology. And at the beginning of the book, she finds this map leading her to a lost city. And then Adam is someone that she meets when she's on the journey to the lost city. And he's an American surveyor, pretty much, living in, I believe, the British colony of Honduras. And he has kind of gotten to a point where he is questioning the morality of his own job because he is surveying the area and mapping it out so that basically other mostly British white people can come and like take the resources of the land. And then a lot of the people who are in this British colony are there because indentured servitude and slavery is not as strictly regulated. At this point, slavery is outlawed in the UK and then also technically in the colonies, but there just isn't as much oversight. So he's having a little bit of a moral dilemma about his role in what's happening to these ancient sites because him mapping them out allows looters to come and basically pillage the resources. So on one hand, we're getting this like colonialism is bad, these sites need to be protected, and perhaps the only way to protect these sites is to keep them out of the reach of white people. But on the other hand, the whole book is about this woman who's so passionate about archaeology and all she wants to do is go and map these sites and then dig there to find out about the ancient civilizations, but then also to like take the ancient artifacts and put them in museums in the UK so that white Brits can go and enjoy them and learn about them. And I knew that my feelings on the book were kind of gonna hinge on where the messaging went, thinking that the moral of the story would be there is no level of colonization and white saviorhood that is safe for indigenous populations and to keep the history in the culture there safe. And that just wasn't the direction it went at all. This moral high ground is being talked about, but then the result is still the same, that the good whites are allowed to go and find these artifacts because they need to be protected from the bad whites. And so we're building up to a series in which Ellie and Adam will still be going around the world looking for these ancient artifacts and disturbing these thousands of year old sites that are really historically and culturally significant, and that they still need to be protected by this like white British woman and this American guy. So I'm a little confused about the messaging because I feel like the words and the actions weren't matching up in terms of the moral alignment of the story. So that made me feel disconnected from the story and a little bit like unresolved. I feel like my hair like this makes me look like a founding father. I'm using one of these weird banana clips because it was the only thing that I had. Okay, that didn't help at all. Okay, founding father look of the day it is. What was I saying? I didn't love the moral conclusion of the story and the messaging that it went in. And I don't know if I'm just being overly sensitive to it, but I didn't love the direction that it went in terms of the messaging. In terms of the romance, however, I really enjoyed it. Honestly, I think one of the things that I enjoyed the most about this book was the romance, which is shocking. So I ended up giving it 3 stars. The beginning felt more like a 4, and then it was teetering on like a 3.5 for a while, and the ending just kind of brought it down to that solid 3. Overall, I think it's a good time if you enjoy Indiana Jones and this type of adventure, romance, historical stuff. I'd still recommend picking it up, but just I'd be curious to know what your thoughts are on the moral implications of the end of the book. So those are my thoughts on Empire of Shadows, and that's my first book of this vlog finished, which is exciting. And then I'm about 20% of the way into Everything I Know About Love. So far, I'm having a good time reading it. I haven't felt like I haven't read anything so far that I feel is really deep or meaningful or has impacted me specifically, but I am having a good time. But right now it's feeling like a 3.5, 4 star in terms of I'm enjoying it a lot, but I don't feel emotionally connected to it yet. And then the final book that I've picked up this weekend is The Possession of Alba Díaz, and I listened to the first 3 or 4 chapters on the drive back up from the city. So far, I'm intrigued. I am liking the gothic vibes. I completely forget what it's about, and I don't want to refresh myself because I just want to go in knowing nothing. So far, they're talking about mercury and mining and silver, and I remember that this family's mine has a lot to do with the story and like a dark presence in the mine, and maybe that's what's possessing Alba Díaz. But we haven't met her yet. We're in Elias's point of view so far. I think his name is Elias. So that's what I've been up to. And I just got my planner. I know it's late, but my planner was delivered while I was down in San Francisco, and I just went to the mailbox and got it. So I'm gonna set that up a little bit. I'm not someone who can bullet journal because I am so not artistic, but I like making my planner a little bit more me. So I'm gonna have like a little reading tracker in there and get all my habit trackers set up and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'll do some Paint by Numbers. I'm gonna watch the Super Bowl. I wanna see Bad Bunny's halftime show. Obviously rooting for the Seahawks because A, bored of the Patriots, B, we hate their manager. Yeah, that is all. Thank you for being here. See you in the next one.
We got nowhere to be, just a slow dance with the summer heat. The world outside can't wait a few, 'cause right now we got nothing else to do. The sun is peeking through the cotton white blinds, your hands still tangled up in mine. Feet on the wall, your head on me, floating easy.
Hi, just wanted to give you another update. I am, according to my Kindle, 67% of the way through Everything I Know About Love. And I fear I'm gonna have an unpopular opinion on this one. I'm liking it now, but the first chapter that actually made me feel anything or feel like I was getting to know Dolly Alderton and who she was and her thoughts on things was, what was it called? It was called Tottenham Court Road and Buying Shit on Amazon or something like that. And I think it was almost 60% through the book. That's still my favorite chapter, that one and Florence, which was the proper chapter right after it. And up until then, I didn't get the hype. Dolly Alderton, I'm sure she's great, but she kind of portrays herself as a really privileged, narcissistic, annoying person, and maybe that's what the whole point is, and she like becomes a better person at the end. But it's just not, it hasn't been fun or insightful to read about for the most part. There have been parts that are kind of relatable, but mostly it just seems like her being a menace to society and like a shit friend. Honestly, she kind of seems like a terrible friend. I know that's just like part of growing up, but so much of the book is about her being annoyed that her friends have relationships with people other than her. She hates that all her friends are in relationships, and she is actively rooting for them to fail. And yeah, she learns and grows, but I don't know. I don't know if this is my type of book. I love a memoir, but I don't want to just be reading about someone's exploits as a young adult and how they were a really annoying person, quite honestly. And I honestly didn't know much about Dolly Alderton. She's only 37, I think, and I just don't feel like that's a lot of life to have written about. I'm sounding like such a bitch, but this is my opinion, and this is my channel, and you don't have to like it. And maybe I'm wrong. That's a complete, distinct possibility. But this is my feelings about it. I feel like she hasn't had that extraordinary of a life by the age of 35 or however old she is to be writing a memoir. I guess I expected more profound insights that I just haven't gotten. It was actually feeling like a 2-star, but after that chapter, Tottenham Court Road and buying shit on Amazon or something, it's feeling more like a 3. I don't get the hype. I don't get the hype. Yeah, and that's my truth. Good morning. Wow, my hair looks like Hagrid. I am about to have breakfast, and I just finished Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton. And I must revise some of my previous statement. I don't think she's a bad friend. I think she was a really annoying friend until she was like 25, but it's clear that she really loves her friends, and that's the most important thing to her, and that's kind of the conclusion of the whole book, is that everything she knows about love she learned from her friends, which is sweet. I stand by the fact that I don't think that there was enough to write about, but I obviously have the unpopular opinion on that, so I think I'm gonna settle with a 3-star. We'll see how I feel about that. I'm gonna mull it over for a bit. The second half was so much better than the first half, in my opinion. And maybe it's because the first half was her as a teenager and in her early 20s, and there just wasn't as much to learn. But a lot of it felt like kind of self-important rambling. As you can probably tell, I'm feeling a little conflicted about it. I just felt like it was the story of a self-obsessed girl in her early adulthood, which makes sense because that's what it was, but it could have been anybody's story, if that makes sense. But that's 2 books down. I have my Kindle. I'm going to read... I'm going to start Elegy for the Undead because I haven't started it yet. That will be my task of today. That's my update with my bedhead. So I didn't start Elegy for the Undead last night because I was finishing Everything I Know About Love, and I want to point out that I feel like my reading might be suffering a little bit because of my mood. The hot tub just turned on to heat it up, so I'm gonna have to be a little louder. But basically, I'm going down on my meds, and it's making me irritable. So that could be a factor, but yeah.
We got nowhere to be, got nowhere to be. Your hair's a mess, but you don't mind. You just laugh, let it fall where it lies. Coffee
upside. But that was really nice, and I got about 25% of the way into Elegy for the Undead, and I really like it so far. Again, I don't know, I feel like it might just be my mood right now. Like, I'm just not in a very good mood. I haven't been for the last few days, so it's not, I don't think, hitting as much as it could be, but I'm still really enjoying it. It's feeling like a solid 4-star so far. And what am I gonna do? I'm gonna shower, and then I'm gonna go to town, and I have to get a Valentine's Day card for my boyfriend and send it to Luxembourg. Conrad, I hope that it's gotten there and I'm not ruining the surprise. And then I'm gonna get that at a bookstore, so also gonna look around in the bookstore, and then I'm gonna go to a friend's place, and then I'm gonna go to a pub quiz. So that's my plan for the rest of the night.
Let the morning slip. Oh, it feels like that, like summer air through window cracks. Oh, it feels like that, like summer sun on quiet tracks. Oh, it feels like that, like the summer rain that falls so slowly on the naked skin upon your back. Oh, it feels like
It was
that,
one of my favorite books
like a
last
love
year.
song on a worn out track. Yeah, it feels like that. Feels like that. Yeah, it feels like that. Na 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 na. Feels like that.
Hi, I just wanted to update you because I'm about 75% of the way through The Possession of Alba Díaz, and it's so good. It's so good, and I'm so happy to be enjoying a book because I thought that maybe I just wasn't enjoying what I was reading because I was grumpy, but maybe I just wasn't enjoying what I was reading because it wasn't good. So I'm really excited to actually be liking something. And there's so much yearning, and it's just incredible, incredibly written. The gothic atmosphere is immaculate. The romance and yearning is exquisite. And I'm having a really good time. We still have to see what the ending is like, but I can't imagine this not being at least a 4-star. So I have been reading it a mix of audio and on my Kindle, and now I'm going to paint by numbers because I'm almost done with my painting, and drink my tea and listen for a little bit. I want to finish it tonight. That is the goal. But I still also have a little bit of Elegy for the Undead. And I have a drive tomorrow. I have to drive like an hour each way down to Larkspur. So maybe I should save some of the audiobook for that. But I don't want to. I want to finish it tonight. I don't know. We'll see what we do. But that's all that to say, I'm having a really good time, and I'm really happy to be reading this. And the romance is great. So yeah, that's all.
Yeah, it feels like that. Na 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 na. Feels like that.
Hi, I'm in bed, and I've been reading my Kindle, and I literally turned the light on because I'm freaking out about their romance, and oh my god, like, it's so good. I was in bed, lights off, but if you don't want like any spoilers at all, then skip ahead a few seconds. But Elias is remembering her saying, "Promise to touch me," and then he says he would. By God, he swore he would, and it would not be like this. It would be worship. It would be profane. I'm literally kicking my feet. And so, yes, having a grand old time, 80% through. Don't think I'll finish it tonight, but it's so good. Ah! I lied, and I did finish it, and it was so good. It's like 12:30, and I have to be up early, but it's worth it. I'll give you more thoughts tomorrow. But 5 stars. Yay. Okay, good night.
Hi. I don't have my tripod, so this might be a little shaky. Okay. But I'm in my car, and I had to go down to Larkspur for an appointment this morning, so I didn't have time to talk to you about my book this morning. But I took some groggy clips last night of me finishing it, so you saw that I adored it, and I gave it 5 stars. So we definitely have a win, at least one win in this video, which is really exciting. And then I'm gonna try to finish Elegy for the Undead either today or maybe finish it on Valentine's Day. And I'm so relieved that I actually have a book with romance that I really loved. And one of my favorite parts was the romance. It was so tender, but also passionate. And I prefer when books don't get too like smutty, when they're not having sex every other page, and they certainly weren't, because it was 18th century Mexico. But there was a lot of like, oh, he saw me in my night clothes, and, you know, looks across the table, and he's warming up my feet, like these little things, and then you're like, oh my god, so wow, they're just so in love. And I loved it. The horror was fun. The storyline was really interesting. I thought it was a really interesting parallel to draw between possession by a spirit and like not having any autonomy over your body or any control over your body. So I really liked the messages. I just had such a good time with this book. At first I thought maybe I'd give it 4.5 stars because there's like a moment after chapter 36 that feels like it could be the ending, and it would have left everything a little bit more ambiguous than it actually ended up being. And on one hand, I would have really liked that, but then I also didn't actually mind the way it ended. So if you like an ambiguous ending, just stop reading after chapter 36. But if you want more of an explanation, then keep going, because either way, it was a really incredible book. I highly recommend. I think this is one of my favorite books with a romance plotline that I've ever read. Again, 5 stars. My favorite book of the year so far. My first 5-star of the year as well, so that's exciting. And I really want to pick up another Isabel Cañas book now. So maybe I will. Who knows? I'm still only about 30% of the way into Elegy for the Undead, but hopefully I'll finish that either today or tomorrow and then get this up for you and give you just like my final thoughts on trying to become a lover girl before Valentine's Day. But yeah. Isn't that exciting? Okay, bye. I'm gonna drive back home now.
Another man shuffled out of the tunnel. He also had blood on his collar. Off to the left, where Geierstown Center was, a tractor trailer had been abandoned in an intersection. And down the road were some cop cars with their lights still flashing.
Happy Valentine's Day. I just got to the city. I am doing kind of a Galentine's Day with some of my friends here. Yeah, we're gonna go see Harold and Maude and just hang out. And I'm 70% through Elegy for the Undead. I was liking it at first, and then something happened that made me not like it as much, but now we're back to me enjoying it. There was just a part that one of the characters does something, and then they're talking about how they chose love over sex. And I think they could have found a way to figure out what they needed without doing the thing they did. So that kind of annoyed me. And it made me like, not root for them, because it's like a very realistic relationship, I think, especially one that starts so young. But it did make me like one of the characters a little less, quite honestly. So that happened, but besides that, I'm still really enjoying it. Yeah, but my friend lives in the Presidio, so just had a very beautiful drive. But I didn't realize how many people would be trying to come to the city for Valentine's Day. I thought there wasn't going to be much traffic because it's a Saturday, but there was traffic, but that's okay. I listened to a little bit of Elegy for the Undead, and I think I'm preferring reading it physically, well, on my Kindle. That's my update for now, and then I'll let you know when I'm done with it, and then I'll close this out. Probably harder. He's ready to get to. I was like, oh my god, I'm pulling up the tickets and then didn't.
Jeff is just round the block. Is it the drink and ready to run? Thought I'd be better by now. my feet move along. And as soon as I see you, I forget about you. Just as soon I get used to letting you go. A fickle heartbeat and I'll go blind. You feel exactly every void I have inside. I'm your battery, like a rock, but still I try so hard to be something I'm not. So show me love and I will show up. Prove me wrong, this time you won't stop. Or you go your way and I will go mine.
Okay, so I'm here to close out the video. It is the night of Valentine's Day. I just got back from the city. Me and some friends hung out and got Thai food, and then we went and saw Harold and Maude at the Balboa Theater, which is like a cute old cinema in the outer Richmond, not too far from where I used to live in the city. So it was fun to be back in that area. But yeah, so we watched Harold and Maude. It was my first time watching it. It is a bizarre little film, but it was really, really fun. And the theater is cool. Ooh, and I got a cool t-shirt. It's the Creature from the Black Lagoon t-shirt, Balboa Theater, because they like show new movies, but as evidenced by Harold and Maude, they also show a lot of older films. Actually, the double feature tomorrow is a banger. It's Ella Enchanted and Stardust, two of my all-time favorite movies. I could have spent the night, but then I wouldn't have been able to like edit this video, which I want to do and get up for you by tomorrow. I was editing it earlier and I was so low energy at the beginning of this clip. You can just see the like change of meds hitting me and then me slowly getting back to feeling like a normal person again. So thanks for sticking with that version of me. So reading update, I finished Elegy for the Undead and it was really good. I am giving it 4 stars, although I think that if I read it completely physically, it would have been a 4.5. I honestly don't recommend the audiobook. I had to finish it off on audio because I was driving back from the city and got on Hoopla and wanted to finish it before I got back. But I didn't love it. One of the narrators, just the voice felt off and the inflections didn't feel like it went with the tone of the book, so I didn't understand it. Wow, it just started raining. I don't know if you can hear that. Good thing I got back when I did, so I didn't have to drive in the rain. Wow, it just started dumping. So I finished Elegy for the Undead. I'm giving it 4 stars. On reread, it could be even up to a 4.5. I did tear up on the way home, and I think maybe I would have cried if I was actually reading it physically. I just think that it ended up being a really beautiful story and really explores like the idea of loving again and preparing yourself to love again and saying goodbye before someone's actually gone and dying on your own terms. I just thought it was really beautifully written. So I'm gonna give it a 4 and wrap up this reading vlog. So it started out a little slow, but it ended up much better than I expected. So in this, I read Empire of Shadow and gave it 3 stars. Everything I Know About Love and gave it 3 stars. The Possession of Alba Díaz and gave it 5 stars, my first 5-star of the year. And Elegy for the Undead, which I gave 4 stars. But yeah, so that's my video. I feel very loved and I feel very grateful for the loves in my life, my friends who I was with today, my partner who sent me flowers, my family who I was talking on the phone with for an hour today. I'm very grateful for all the love I have, even when I'm in an irritable mood because of external factors. But yeah, feeling grateful and I'm feeling loved. So thanks so much for watching and coming with me on this journey to become less of a romantic cynic. And I hope you're feeling very surrounded by love as well, whether that be romantic or not. And I'll see you next time.